He is credited with having written more than 4,000 songs, each of which I will list when he comes out. This is his new album. It's called What the World Needs Now. Please welcome Smokey Robinson.
The legendary Smokey Robinson, 85 and still going strong. In fact, he was on Kimmel promoting a new album, Always Lovable, Always Charming.
We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist that must be stopped.
Just stunning allegations, but one of his best friends is here to set the record straight.
He has always conducted himself in an exemplary way. He's been a constant professional, and he's also been a gentleman, Vanessa, kind and a gentle-spirited soul to everyone.
The allegations against an icon, now on Blackland.
And now,
as a brown person, you just feel so invisible.
That's not fiction. Where we're from.
Brothers and sisters, I welcome you to this joyful day.
We celebrate freedom. Where we are.
Get on the ground!
I know someone heard something.
And where we're going.
We the people means all the people.
The Black Information Network presents Blackland with your host, Vanessa Tyler.
We hear about Diddy, R. Kelly, even Bill Cosby. Still, it was a shock to hear allegations against Smokey. His former maids came forward in a dramatic news conference, masks and sunglasses on their faces, and stood in solidarity as their lawyers did the talking. One man who doesn't believe it and says it is not true is Smokey's best friend, a Hollywood legend himself, actor and producer Leon Isaac Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining me.
Vanessa, it's my extreme pleasure to be with you, and thank you for fitting me into your busy schedule.
Let's get right to it. You don't believe these detailed allegations of assault, rape, abuse.
Absolutely not, and they're totally out of the character and out of the nature of a Smokey Robinson.
It certainly doesn't sound like Smokey, but at a California news conference in May, a pair of attorneys did not describe a soft-spoken crooner with those dreamy golden green eyes. They described a monster.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming here today. My name is John Harris, and this is my partner, Herbert Hayden, with the firm of Harris & Hayden. 3 of our 4 clients are present here today. They've been identified as Jane Does. There's one appearing remotely, who you can probably see on the screen. This is to announce that earlier today, in Los Angeles Superior Court, we filed a complaint against William Smokey Robinson Jr. and his spouse, Frances Robinson.
We believe she was aware of the misconduct by her husband, Smokey Robinson, and that she used their status as well as our client's reliance on their living wage in order to keep them in check.
The principal causes of action against Mr. Robinson, in particular, are sexual battery, assault, false imprisonment, gender violence, and creating a hostile work environment. We're seeking damages of $50 million. Obviously, no amount of money can compensate these women for what Mr. Robinson subjected them to.
That hit like a bomb on fans and friends alike, which brings us back to Smokey's best friend of more than 50 years. Again, Leon Isaac Kennedy has been to Smokey's homes so many times. If there was anything to this, he would have picked up on it.
And you know who these women are. You've seen them.
Absolutely. They're not Jane Does to me. I know them on a first-name basis. I know their families. I was around when they were first hired. And it's just absurd if you really break down the accusations and put just common sense into these accusations. It makes no sense at all. And I can break it down any way you want.
Yeah, please do break it down.
Sure. So let's talk about rape for a moment. Rape is a very violent act. And once again, to me, it certainly is the antithesis of Smokey's character. But For example, when the lawyer said, well, Smokey walked into the blue bedroom naked with an erection, and he laid a towel down on the bed and summoned the maid to go and get on the bed. You know, that sounds more like something out of a romantic novel. That doesn't sound like a rape. A rape is usually a sudden action and taking somebody by surprise, and it's a violent and wild action. So that made no sense to me.
The lawyers really detailed these alleged encounters, including the horrors in that so-called blue bedroom.
Our four clients have a common thread. They're Hispanic women who were employed as housekeepers by the Robinsons, earning below minimum wage. As low-wage workers in vulnerable positions, they lack the resources and options necessary to protect themselves from sexual assaults throughout their tenure as employees for the Robinsons. Let me briefly summarize each of their individual claims. I repeat, I will not describe the details of the sexual assaults and rapes because they're too graphic and disturbing for this news conference. But you can read them in the complaints that we have provided with many of you today. Let's talk about Jane Doe number 1. She worked for the Robinsons for a little over a year, from January 2023 to February 24. Mr. Robinson first sexually assaulted and raped her in March of 23, as detailed in the complaint. What he would do was summons her to his blue bedroom, which you'll probably be hearing about later on. After having just showered, he would come out of the adjoining bathroom naked and proceed to force her to have sex with him against her will. He sexually assaulted and raped her in this manner 7 times. She quit in February 2024 because she could no longer endure these sexual assaults. Jane Doe number 2. She worked for the Robinsons from May 2014 to February 2020. Smokey Robinson's modus operandi was somewhat different with her. He would ask her to meet him in areas in the home where there were no cameras. There were 2 such places or areas in their Chatsworth home, the garage and the laundry room. When she would meet him at this location, he would immediately begin to sexually assault and rape her, causing her excruciating pain. He sexually assaulted and raped her in this manner 23 times. She was forced to resign because she, too, could no longer endure Mr. Robinson's sexual assaults. Jane Doe number 3. She worked for the Robinsons as a housekeeper from February 2012 to April 2024. Her story is quite similar to the others. Mr. Robinson would call her into his blue bedroom where he would sexually assault and rape her. This occurred approximately 20 times. And like the others, she quit in April of 2024 due to the repeated sexual assaults against her. Jane Doe number 4. She worked the longest as a housekeeper for the Robinsons from October 2006 to April 2024. He raped her in 3 of their homes, namely the Chatsworth home, the Las Vegas home, and the Bell Canyon homes. He had a preoccupation of fondling her breasts and touching her all over her body against her will. She too quit in April of 2024.
Horrific allegations, but again, it does not make sense to Smokey's friend Leon.
Also, to say that this same situation happened 7 times with this first Jane Doe. First of all, Vanessa, there was never just one maid at the household. There were 2, 3, 4 maids working simultaneously. So if you're being raped, can you not holler? Can you not fight? Somebody would hear you. And it also makes no sense that you would keep coming back to the scene of a violation. Why would you ever go back into that bedroom again with this man and be alone with him when other people were in the household?
But it seems that the attorneys tried to explain that one away by saying they desperately needed the money for themselves and their families.
Okay, well, that makes no sense either, Vanessa, because let's just put common sense on this. The same attorney went on to say, and these women were taken advantage of because they were paid below minimum wage, which is not true. But let's just take what he said. They were paid below minimum wage. Now, I'll flip this. If you were paid thousands and thousands of dollars beyond what the normal pay scale would be, then maybe you would put up with this type of absurd atrocity and violations. But you mean to tell me that you're going to be raped 7 times, 23 times, 20 times for minimum wage in Southern California, when you can go out and get any job at minimum wage in Southern California? Makes absolutely no sense at all.
In the complaint, there were also allegations the women were worried about their immigration status, something they claim the Robinsons held over their heads.
As I said before, these women were all low wage earners, living from paycheck to paycheck. They all feared missing a payday and not being able to pay their rent or buy food for their families. And also, Smokey's Robinson's celebrity status intimidated them and all made them feel powerless.
Leon Isaac Kennedy says he's not naive. He knows Hollywood has an abusive, predatory side. If his name sounds familiar, we know him from a string of movies, especially the 1979 blaxploitation film Penitentiary. Here is Leon in the leading role as the prisoner, Too Sweet.
You set this whole thing up. And then, like the coward you are, you stood back and let your crazy fools do your dirty work. Seldom, you call the lieutenant, and you tell him if he wants Rumble, we'll give him Rumble.
Now he's fighting for a friend and fighting against what he sees as happening way too often.
When it comes to the Me Too movement, certainly there was a need to correct some things. I think that women are one of God's greatest creations. I think that women have been suppressed for far too long in this American society. It was not so long ago where women were just possessions. They could not vote. If property was passed down, it went to the son, not to them. As recently as in the 1950s, women could not even have a credit card without their husband either being on it or approving something. But now the pendulum has swung way too far, and these shakedowns have become what I would call a cottage industry, where there are opportunists coming against rich men, hoping to get some money, and opportunist attorneys hoping to have a payday.
Bottom line, he says this is a shakedown, plain and simple.
They didn't even go to the police. The lawyers didn't go to the police. What did they do? They asked for $100 million. Then when they were told no, 50 million, then 20 million, then 10 million. And then when they were still told no, they bounced it back up to 50 million and said, well, we'll hold a public press conference. It's a shakedown. It's extortion. These women were treated as family. Now, when I would be over there, it was a cheerful working atmosphere. The women were smiling and singing and just having, a regular, peaceful day. Also, Vanessa, let me say this. For the past several decades, I've been in ministry. I've had to counsel a lot of individuals, women and men, that have gone through rape experiences or molestation and so on and so forth. You don't go through something like this and remain the same. it affects your demeanor. It affects your outlook. Some people go into depression. Some people go into just almost a fearful mode. There was none of this evidenced in these women.
When was the last time you spoke with Smokey?
He and I talk all the time. So I spoke to him as recently as Monday when we were looking at the basketball playoffs.
How is he doing in light of all of this?
I would say this, he and Francis are doing the best that they can. Something like this is devastating. Something like this is life-changing. Something like this, even when you're proven innocent, you'll never be the same because you'll never be looked at the same, Vanessa. There's still going to be that underlying lingering, yeah, well, he was found not guilty, but what if he did do it? This is a man that has been under the scrutiny of the spotlight of media since he was 18 years old. And to put that in proper perspective, since Eisenhower was president, all the way through to now Trump being president. What have we heard about Smokey? Have we heard him in scandals? Have we heard about him being in anger management?
That's what angers him the most. His best friend, like a big brother, is now breaking news.
Smokey Robinson now being criminally investigated by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for allegations of sexual assault. This coming 1 week after Robinson was sued by 4 former housekeepers who allege she repeatedly abused them for years. NBC's Dana Griffin joins us tonight from LA with the latest. Dana, this just took a very, very big turn for Smokey Robinson and his wife. What do we know about this investigation?
Absolutely. Very, very disturbing as well, Tom. So these disturbing allegations were first brought to light last week when those 4 former housekeepers filed a lawsuit alleging that for years, Smokey Robinson either raped or sexually assaulted them while in his home here in Los Angeles County.
The police are now involved, an investigation underway.
We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist that must be stopped. Our clients, these 4 courageous women, want and demand justice for themselves, and the filing of this lawsuit is the first step of their journey to achieve that objective.
Smokey Robinson is countersuing for defamation. Leon thinks it will mostly be symbolic, since a judgment in his favor likely won't yield any money, certainly not millions.
It's an epidemic. Most of these cases are not even talked about because when people do the math and they go to their attorney and they say, hey, these charges are being brought against me, I'm completely innocent, what should we do? By the time the attorney says, well, you know, for me to fight this, it's going to cost X amount of dollars. And usually, Vanessa, those dollars are in the millions by the time you get to court. And your reputation has already been ruined before you even get to court. Usually they'll come up with, you know, it's cheaper by the math and it's better for your career or your corporate position or whatever. The hell with it, just go ahead and pay them. I know it's not right, but just go ahead and pay them off. And people are counting on that. And it's happening every single week. It's in an epidemic proportion.
Why didn't Smokey, settle for that very reasoning that we just discussed for the 50 million or 10 million, which was the lowest price?
Well, $10 million is still a lot of money, Vanessa.
Yeah, oh, yes, it is.
When you're not guilty. And he just said, no, I'm not going to do this. And if we have to fight, then so be it.
It takes a lot out of a person. And like you mentioned, his age, is he able to fight this?
Well, he has no choice but to fight it. And as you said, at 85 years old, it's a tragedy that he and Francis have to go through something like that at this point in their life. But unfortunately, the law and the pendulum has swung, as I said, too far. And this is what a lot of people are having to put up with.
What do you think his fans should do?
Well, thank God the fans are still showing up at the concerts. The promoters have not canceled concerts, and he's been shown love every single place that he goes.
Not everyone has been as supportive. That new album Smokey is promoting, titled What the World Needs Now, Leon says the promotion has been cut back. Smokey was doing a press tour before this news broke, like that appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live. And here is Smokey before the allegations on Today.
Smokey, it is so good to see you.
Welcome back. It's good to see you guys too.
Welcome.
Thank you for doing this. Yeah.
So talk about the new album and the choices you made for these songs.
Well, it's actually an inspirational album. Mm-hmm. It's not spiritual or anything. It's inspirational. All the songs are inspirational songs to try to give people inspiration. Mm-hmm. And no question about it, man. If there's anything the world needs now, it is love. It's caring about each other, you know.
So what are the consequences for ruining a person's life and legacy? What are the consequences against attorneys who take flimsy cases without doing a lot of fact checking, knowing that these cases don't hold enough water, but yet they get notoriety for taking a case like this, and boy, if they get paid off, it's a nice payday. There's got to be some consequences going into the future with these type of things.
Wow. Leon Isaac Kennedy, thank you so much for speaking up about your friend.
Thank you so much for allowing me to spend this time with you.
The police investigation continues. I'm Vanessa Tyler. Join me next time on Blackland. There will be a new episode every week.